Well, hey YouTube, it's Elvis Ammo here. Hey, today we're going to talk about the 300 Blackout, chambering, cycling, and overall length. And we're going to try to stick to the basics here on this subject, and I believe the basics will almost cover it. We have one of our fine soldiers, A.T. Collins, was one of the last people of many that have these questions about their 300 blackouts, builds, and that kind of thing, where they're having chambering issues or overall length for the bullet issues, and one of the things with the 300 Blackout that caused so many issues for many of us, you guys have had your builds and your 300s for quite a while, and it just might sound like you've got it figured out, but the truth is your system that you got just seemed to work out, or you figured it out, that kind of thing. But the reason being, I think, that the 300 always has a lot of questions when it comes to this kind of thing is because of the variety of bullets. We shoot these 230 grains in there, and all the way down, so there's such a wide variety of weights in bullets that we use. And when we're using cast bullets, if you have a really steep ogive, then it can cause you to have to seat the bullet way back and that kind of thing. Now this is the Lee bullet, and it's a fairly nice design. It shoots well and chambers well. So with this one, we don't have as much trouble, although there's been many questions about this one that I've had in the past. So really, you can really, this whole subject, especially touching on, on chambering, cycling, and overall length, you can get into some detail. So I think I'm going to try to cover what I think will answer some of the questions. And if I need to do another video and go deeper into it on one of the subjects that's more specific, then I can do that. So first thing you do, you get a 300 Blackout, or you build one, and you got everything together, and assuming that the rifle headspace has already been adjusted where it's supposed to be by the gunsmith or the company that you bought it from. So the next thing you're going to do is you find a bullet, and it's got the steep ogive on it, where it goes up really high and then goes to a point, and that can create a jamming problem in your rifling. So first thing first, we're going to establish our overall length, and with the bullet that you have in your rifle, and then we'll talk about establishing the proper brass specs, wall thickness, neck diameter, and then we'll talk a little bit about quickly about how you can adjust your loads and that kind of thing without adjusting equipment. So that's kind of what this video is. So first thing first, let's go ahead and set our bullet diameter. Okay, what I have here is a case with a cut in it, just one of those little tricky old cut the neck, have the split case deal. So you want to take the bullet. I usually cut a little bit at a time because I don't want it too loose, and then I'll scrape my bullet in and out of it until I cause it, and maybe even use lube if you need to, but get it going in and out where it's not going to fall in and out real easy, where you got to actually push it in and out. So then what I do is I go ahead and just push it in to where it's way long, to where it's just way longer than it needs to be. Alright, there's 2.270. So now let's go ahead and drop it in. Drop it in the chamber. Don't drop the bolt on it, just kind of set it down there. And in this case, if you have a forward assist, you can ratchet it in there like that, and hopefully we did okay. And what you want to do is you want to do this several times until you can establish a consistent overall length with your bullet. So I'm gonna measure that. We were at 73, now we're at 67. That don't sound right, so I'm just going to go ahead and just do it again. You get my point. What more than likely what happened is I'm just using some common sense and what I already know about this rifle to say that it's possible that whenever I pulled this out, that the bullet pulled out just a little bit. So that's why you do this several times until you come up with a consistent result. And you can also mark your bullet here with a marker, so you can see where the lands are touching and all that kind of thing. So just kind of, there's some options for you to do. So this is not, this is really not scientific, you know. So that's why, you know, you do this several times. It don't seem like it had moved again. And I'm just going to kind of loosen it up here. Maybe it's too, I don't think it's too loose. Let's see where we're at again. Pull it out a little bit more. But you get the idea. Okay, I'm at 77. Let's try that again. See how I'm doing this? You can kind of work it a little bit if you need to. If it feels like it's taking a little bit to pull the bolt out, I worked it a little bit. Let's see. That's always a good idea. Seems long still. Yeah, see, I think it's pulling out. I think what happened is I'd finally loosened this thing up too much, I think. So just to save time, I already done this part, and I was averaging 55. 2.255, 2.260 is what I was averaging, you know, for this bullet, and in my rifling. Just to save time, I'm gonna just go ahead and do that. And this is what this particular round is loaded at, 2.228. Right, so I load these at 2.225 to all the way to 3.5, which is 20 to, you know, 35 thousandths under what I know my rifling is on this bullet when I check it. So it takes a little bit of work. You know, you want to make sure, you know, not too loose. You know, this one's getting kind of loose right now. See? So you want it tight enough to when you close that bolt on it, that whenever if it jams into your rifling, that it don't pull the bullet out a little bit you know, as you're pulling the bolt back. So you get the idea. That's you know, there's lots of ways to do this, guys. That's the way that I work mine. And so first thing you do is establish your overall length, which I have already, and it was 2.255. It was really, I'm comfortable with 2.255 because I was getting 2.255 all the way to 60, which is your mag length. So I guess if I really wanted to, I could run it that far, but I don't like getting that close in a semi-auto. So that's where I'm comfortable at, 20 thousandths under. You know, I'd certainly run it closer than that if I needed to, but I didn't need to. Alright, establishing our overall length. Very important, guys. That's especially when it comes to 300 Blackout. And now, so that's simple enough. Alright, and like I said, you know, on your bullet, you can totally take a magic marker and paint this thing with it, and it'll allow you to see your lines better. It don't matter whether it's powder coated, or you're really better off to do it powder coated if you're going to use it powder coated. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to look at our brass. This is very important again, and that goes for supers or subs. So the next thing we do is we need to take our brass. Now this is 2 pieces of brass, and this brass right here is okay, these are just Federal cases, and these are regular Blackout cases. Alright, so what I done is I sized one of these with the Lee die, and I sized one of them with the RCBS small base die and the Lee die. And I'll just let you see. First thing you need to do, if you're making your own brass, cutting them down out of 223, or if you're whatever you're doing, the diameter of your brass, the diameter that I'm getting, okay, this one right here, I can tell you already that I used the see the 0.327. I used the RCBS die, and here's the other Blackout case, and you can see the difference. 2.8, 3.28, 2.9. 2.7. Alright, now this was brass that I cut down, Federal cases, and I did the same. I used one of them with the Lee die, and I can tell you this was the Lee die already. 0.329. This diameter is very important, guys. 0.327. See, that was the small base RCBS, which is kind of an insurance. You can, you know, Lee says that you can use the 300 Blackout die that they have for resizing, but not for making, not for forming your brass. I guess that was the answer that came back. From what I understand, I overheard from Lee. Someone else said, secondhand information is what I'm trying to say. I didn't find that out myself. So so here it is, with the Federal cases, you know, but it still sizes them down smaller. Alright, so the next thing you need to know is wall thickness. These are very important issues right here. Okay, here's the wall thickness. You got 12. I'm going to just turn it 12 again. Let's see if it, just check it in different places. 11 and 12 is what I'm getting on the Blackout. And here's the Federal. I got 11. I'm going to turn it a little bit. 11. This is the brass that I made. 11. 11. Alright, so in 12 is this, see this thickness right here? That's as high as I go, or I discard them. Alright, so if I'm making my own brass, the wall thickness right there, if it goes to 13, I just go ahead and get rid of it, because it's going to be a problem down the road for me. One of them will chamber fine, the other one won't. One will chamber fine, the other one won't. But it can cause some dangerous things to happen, so I don't want that. And I'm pretty crazy. Danger don't scare me, but you know, I don't know, somebody standing right beside you, and or the drop the bolt and the gun goes off, that kind of thing. Don't want it. Anyway, that's the limit. And to me, these are important issues. That's why I'm bringing them up as we're talking about chambering. So, in my opinion, an insurance policy is just to get the RCBS small base die. I use the Lee dies for the rest of the story, because I just like the Lee dies. They're easy to use. There's the sizing die, Lee die. But I seat the bullet, and I use my factory crimp die. So, okay, so now we talked about wall thickness and neck diameter. And so the next quick thing that we can talk about is if you're having function issues or cycling issues in your rifle, then one of the first things people want to do is they want to, you know, address their buffer and buffer spring, or their gas block, those kind of things. And sometimes the first thing that you want to do is adjust your load. Alright, and I know this sounds elementary, and it may not apply to anything people are talking about, but I'm just going to address it, because that's the first thing that you want to do. Is you know, if you're using powder that's too fast, it can cause some issues where you can't get enough powder in it for it to bring the bolt back and take the next round in. Alright, so if you're using fast powders, like I have some, you guys are gonna like this, because there's such limited, you know, load data available. So I'm just going to show you. This comes with the Lee dies. I know people don't buy the Lee dies to get this, but I'm just going to give you a peek at it. Now here's some 300 Blackout load data, and if you're having problems, you know, finding the data that you're looking for. Now some people don't like when I do something like this, because, you know, I'm giving information away without them paying for it. But I already know that nobody is buying the dies to get this information. It's a bonus, and it's a great bonus. Thank you, Lee. But I wanted you to see that, because, you know, if you're using, for instance, you know, little gun here, now that's a fairly fast powder. So if you're having issues where your rifle is not cycling, then, you know, if this is just a powder burn rate chart, I mean, you can look at the chart yourself. There's little gun at 25. Now I know all these charts are different, so this one is in this order. Little gun is number 25, and you know, some of the powders that's in your in your load data in different places. You know, little gun might be a little fast, and that's why you're not getting a cycling that you need. You may need to go to Winchester 296 or IMR 4227. That's the one that I use with this load. I think I put 10.3 grains of 4227 that runs real good with my overall length in my rifle for subsonics. Some people, you can, these other ones are in the load data as well. Accurate 57, 54, 44, or accurate 1680. I've even used, the 4198. I love that powder for a lot of things. So sometimes when you're not getting, the cycling that you need, obviously if the powder's too slow and you don't have enough room in the case because you're shoving a big bullet in it, you may need a little more room in the case, and in that case you have to go with a faster powder so you can get a little bit more velocity. So anyway, that's kind of what I do. Is first thing I'm going to do is work on the load. More powder, less powder. If you're using a pistol length gas system, like this rifle has a pistol length gas system right there. All right, this is a hardened arms upper, and I've been very happy with it. And with a pistol length gas system, it shouldn't really give you a lot of trouble, cycling, unless there's another problem, I don't think if you have a pistol length gas system, now other people are more than welcome to chime in and talk about their own experiences as well, on this. By all means, please. But the pistol length gas system, I wouldn't really see changing a buffer spring to be, something that you would need to do. Now, in my case, this lower has my Echo trigger in it, and with my Echo trigger, I have this bolt that came with it. It's a special, bolt carrier group. The bolt carrier came with my trigger group, my trigger package for my Echo trigger. So I can tell you for sure that whenever I used this bolt, I had to increase this load because I was using a nickel boron bolt, and that's where I got this load up for that round. Is all my testing was done with the nickel boron, and I can tell you for sure that nickel boron, man, that thing, it don't need as much power to cycle that thing back and forth. And the truth is, the nickel boron bolt actually weighs slightly more than I don't know about this bolt, but another bolt that I tried it with that didn't, a regular mil-spec bolt, I had to increase the volume of the load to get cycling with the other mil-spec bolt. And same with this one, I had to increase my load. The nickel boron, though, I could decrease my load to shoot the same velocity. So those are issues. So really the only thing I've ever done is just mess with my load, change powders, or increased the volume. That's the only thing I've ever done to get cycling. And obviously the reason I'm talking about this again is because this was a question, or some of the details of the question. So with a pistol length system, I don't know why there would be an issue. If there is an issue, if you still can't get it to cycle, You know, first thing you got to make sure is everything that we just talked about. Make sure you're getting this thing chambered. It's making a good seal in there when you pull the trigger and all of that. The next thing is just adjusting your load once you know everything is, everything is chambering. And with the gas block, if this persists, then I would say that maybe something's wrong with the gas block. I don't know. Maybe at that point I would probably call the company that I bought the upper from, if you bought the upper with the gas block on it, and just find out what the port diameter is for your gas block, that kind of thing. But anyway, let's see. I made a little note here. Try not to forget anything. And the last thing, I guess, is for functioning, you adjust your overall length, of course, so that for your particular bullet, so that it functions and cycles, ejects without failures. But there you go. I was trying to keep a real long video short. So YouTube, I hope this helped, and I'll see you in the next video. Let me know if there's a specific item that I talked about or that I missed that I need to elaborate on. And you guys are, by all means, please welcome in the comments to contribute. See you in the next video.